Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channel. I'm Mark.
And I'm Rob.
And today we're going to talk about how to fix the WNBA. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so and hit the notification bell when you do. We're close to 5,000 subscribers, and we need your help to get pushed over the edge there.
Yeah.
Anyways, Rob, I don't have a lot of confidence that they're going to take any of our suggestions here today because they've had the same problems for 28 years and they've done nothing about it. So why would it change now? But at the same time, they have a lot of eyes on them, and maybe they weren't aware of some of the things they were doing wrong, and they received a lot more criticism. So some of this criticism must have got back to them. Well, we'll see. All right, Rob, I'll let you start. What do you think is the major problems on why the WNBA has not been popular, especially before this year?
Major problem is right there. They're supposed to have a marketing department, and it's supposed to be experts in it. And right there, if you have a product like the WNBA and you want more viewers, you have to promote it. And then you have a person in Caitlin Clark who you could have, who you didn't know, you had no idea. You said you had no idea it would be this big, which right there shows me you have no marketing skills. So you have to promote a person in your league or persons in your league to get people interested. If you don't, then it's on you. You know, you're just showing your ignorance. And who cares about what other people or what other people say or what your other players say? If this person's going to make me money, I really don't care if you like her or not. It's up to me as the person in the WNBA. I want my product to succeed. And if I'm going to promote Caitlin Clark, which you should have done, and then other people are going to be upset, that's too bad because she's a moneymaker. She's getting me more views. So why wouldn't I do that?
Okay, well, of course, I'm 100% agree with you on that. In fact, they have two good examples on how this will work because the NBA did that with Michael Jordan to push him over the edge after Magic Johnson and Larry Bird got him going. And then Tiger Woods did it for golf, and they started promoting Tiger Woods like crazy. Why? Because people were tuning in to see him, and he's exciting. For golf, I don't find golf exciting, but for a golfer, he's exciting.
Right.
And anyways, and it worked. And Tiger Woods made them all a lot more money. And so will Caitlin Clark if they let her, but they seem to want to try to hold her back in many ways, which we've discussed in the past. And, you know, twice this year, the commissioner and the chief marketing officer, Mr. Cook, said, oh, we didn't know she was going to be this popular. We didn't know. Yeah, they knew. They just didn't want to promote her because the black lesbians in the league wouldn't allow it. So, because they say, what about us? We built the league. What about us? We're the stars of the league. And guess what? Too bad. You weren't selling tickets. You weren't getting TV viewership. That's what their job is in terms of marketing, is to try to get those things so the league can make some money. So I agree with you. Marketing is poor. They don't promote Caitlin Clark enough. And when they do market it, they don't market the right things. They market some of the physicality of the league, which is actually what turning people off. So the marketing is also wrong.
Right. Also, the promotion of what their league is about is horrible. To promote that your league is violent doesn't make sense, especially with women. That you have violent women playing the game. We're tough.
Right.
So come watch us. Come see the knockdowns. And unless you want to do the MMA, whatever, but you're not. You're a basketball sport, so you're supposed to promote. Yeah, there is physicality, but you're supposed to support the way the beauty of the game. You know, the passing. I mean, you can't promote dunking, but I mean, since the ground game, you can promote a lot of like passing, shooting. You know, there's a lot of things you could promote besides violence.
Right. Okay. So that's the. But the problem is not just marketing, because if your product's no good, it doesn't matter how good your marketing is. So that's part of the problem, is the product isn't any good. And that's because the skill level is not as high as it should be, because I maintain it's because the women aren't dedicated enough. And I'm going to make that argument why. You know, they can't do anything about the fact that they're not as fast and they don't jump as high as the men and they're not as strong. They can't do anything about that. They're not as quick in most cases. What they can do is make sure their skill levels are up to snuff.
Right.
And if you watch how many layups they miss, which is not a hard skill, you know they're not practicing enough. And I maintain that men play more basketball than women, especially at the elite level, at all levels. Because I never seen women at a basketball court in my entire life in an outdoor basketball court when I walk by. It's always men playing. But that doesn't mean women aren't practicing in the gym or anything like that. But I can just tell that they can't make a layup, and these are the best 144 women in the league. At least they keep telling us that they don't practice enough, even their layups. I know they practice 3-point shots, but obviously they're not practicing layups. And I just can't believe they're putting in the hours that they need to put in order to develop the skill levels that are needed for the best players in the world. Because I know women are great athletes. I watch Simone Biles, and I know what women are capable of. I watch volleyball players who can jump better than the women in the WNBA. I watch Serena Williams play tennis.
Yeah, I watch women's soccer. I mean, it's a team sport. Women's soccer, where the great athletes there.
Right. Yeah. Look at how skillful those young women team was this year in the Olympics.
Yeah.
A lot of young women of all different races, and they were really good. And they showed skill level and athletic ability. Women can be great athletes if they put the work into it. I think these women are too busy on social media, spending hours on social media instead of putting hours into practicing in the basketball court in the off season or even outside of practice.
And it shows. I mean, it showed with Aaliyah Boston this year, beginning of the year. She was out of shape. She came in out of shape. She wasn't that good
out of practice, Rob. And they have no excuse not to put more work into it in the off season because they have a shorter season. Right. The men have a longer season, so they need to take a break afterwards. Okay, so they can take a break after the season and then put the work in after that. And they need to do that. They need to work on their post games. If they're larger women or taller women, they need to skip rope. They need to do hand grips. They need to strengthen because the women the ball keeps getting knocked out of their hands all the time, Rob. And they do hand grips, strengthen up. Skipping rope helps with your agility and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, it helps with coordination. That's the first thing I do when I have a big kid on my team. I tell them to jump rope, get their coordination down, just the timing down, and the footwork. Right. Because they have no footwork, the post players. And then the people, the ones with the guards, forward guards, they have no way of how to shake the person off of them. They catch the ball and they don't know how to make any kind of moves to get the person off of them.
Right.
They get the ball and they dribble once and they pick it up. I'm like, no, you have to dribble with a purpose.
Right. Yeah, and Rob, you can practice dribbling on your own. There's all sorts of dribbling drill you can do. And a lot of them can't even dribble that well. And these are the 144 best women in the world, supposedly, and they can't even dribble that well. Those are skills that you have to work away from practice, not at practice. You need to go home and do it on your own when your team's not practicing. And I know some of them lift weights, but maybe they need to lift weights more. I don't know, because you can see the Indiana Fever go and work out with weights. But there's all sorts of things they could be working on. The form, Rob, the form on their jump shots. I know they're at a disadvantage because they learn how to shoot a basketball when they have less strength than men. But the boys have the same problem when they're younger, and at some point they correct it when they become strong enough. When I first was shooting the basketball, I shot it like this because I was small for my age, and I eventually corrected it over my head when I became strong enough. Right. Now the women's going to have to change it at a later age, so they're at a disadvantage because they've done it one way for a longer period of time, but they need to change it at some point so their form is better and the shot's harder to block. Because if you shoot it from up here instead of from down here, I see some of these women doing layups almost from their waist, Rob, and they wonder why it gets blocked all the time. So that comes down to coaching too.
Well, Mark, I blame the players because basketball is one of the easiest sports where you can work on your game. I mean, right now, I could go outside and I can walk to a basketball court. Most places have basketball courts within 2 miles where you can go and work on your game. When I was growing up, I used to go to my friend's backyard. We called it on our street. We called it Wheatley Gardens, Wheatley Garden, because his father built this driveway and he paved it. And that's why I did my basketball skills. Most of us, but then we went on to other basketball courts. Basketball is one of the easiest sports to work on your game. Like you said, you can go outside and put little cones on the ground and dribble the ball. Really easy. Shooting, you taught like even when you're lying down, how to get your arch. You lie in bed and you just shoot the basketball and catch it, shoot it and catch it. Just lying down while you're watching TV. It's so easy to improve your game with basketball. It really is.
Right. I mean, the amount of women in this league that have any kind of post move is almost zero. Almost none of them have a floater, stop and pop jumper, Rob. Very few of them have that.
Yeah,
and these skills are not like, we're not talking these are elite super skills. You don't have to do a Michael Jordan move or Hakeem Olajuwon post move in order to have a move. You just need some move to fake the other person out so it doesn't get blocked all the time. And that's what happens all the time, Rob. They just put it up and, well, I can't believe they blocked it.
Right.
Why you blocked it? Because you didn't fake them out. You didn't put a move in. Your footwork is poor. Those are all things you need to work on away from team practices. Right. And if they get off social media and now they made this into a fashion show, which I don't have a problem with for WNBA, it draws some attention to them, but do a little bit less shopping, less fashion show, a little bit less social media and less vacations or whatever, and practice on your game. Women are I'm not trying to put women down. I think they're very capable of being great athletes and of being great basketball players. But I don't think they're putting the work into it, Rob, because I see other athletes and women in other sports that get to a much higher level than the WNBA women for their particular sport, in my opinion.
Well, you can see it. You can see the difference like with Caitlin Clark. You can tell that she definitely puts time in, and that's the problem. She put the time in, and so she worked on her game. So the other players were jealous of her that she has better skills than them, and so they cried and they whined and were jealous and petty. And so the WNBA association's like, well, no, we can't. Well, yeah, she's got better skills than you guys. Oh, we can't. Well, we can't let her show you up. Like, yeah, well, who can, she's better than she's a better player than you.
And Rob, she is an average height for the league, probably average strength for the league. So she's not gifted. She's regular. She's average height for this league. So yeah, she's taller than some of the women, but she's average height for leagues. So she doesn't have this huge advantage. She just put the work into it. I said this in other videos. I am 100% sure, or 99.9% sure, she's put more hours in practicing basketball for how many years she's been on this planet than any other woman in that league. And that's why she was the fourth best player in the league this year as a rookie. That's why. And she's going to be the best player in the league because she puts the work into it. And these women need to put more work into it. And so they can develop the skill levels so we don't get disgusted watching you miss layups.
The scoring, Mark, the scoring, even in this playoffs. I mean, what's the final scores in the lower 60s or 70s for a final? That's more like I've coached high school basketball. It was higher than that. Even junior high school, you get at least 40 or 50. These are supposedly skilled athletes.
And Rob, it's not just that, like their defense, not being close to the people for the 3-point shots. As you pointed out, they have poor stance. They don't bend their knees. They don't slide their feet. And that's skills. That's skills that you can develop to increase your level of ability and make the product better. And they need to work on that. And that has to do with dedication, Rob. And again, some of this has to do with coaching because some of these skills need to be taught when they're younger and they need to work on it. But they know what proper form is, Rob. They can watch someone do a jump shot in the NBA who has great form and say, okay, that's what I got to emulate. And they're not doing that. And they can.
They can get together. Get together during the summer. A couple of you guys. Hey, what are you doing during the summer? Hey, let's go shoot some hoops. It's so basic. For me, growing up, that was it. Oh, what are you doing today? Let's go shoot some hoops. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, you're in town. I'm in town. I can meet you somewhere. Let's go work on our game, 2-on-2, whatever. I mean, it's like I said, basketball is such an easy game to improve and work on your skills. It really is. It's not like soccer or golf or even baseball. My God, baseball is hard. But I mean, basketball, you just get a ball, dribble it, go. You can go by yourself, shoot around. It's so easy.
I played ultimate frisbee for 40 years, and the most important thing in ultimate is being able to throw the frisbee. It's which is called a disc because of trademark for frisbee. But I used to go to a field by myself and set up cones, setting up the field, and I would take 20 frisbees with me and then just throw them myself and do that all the time. They can do the same thing because I wanted to be really good,
Right.
and that's why I did that. And I wanted to have better throws than everybody else. And that's what I just don't feel they're doing it. I'm just sure of it, Rob, because there's no way. There's no way the layups aren't that hard. I'm sorry. Anyways, that's so the product's better. It's going to be better, but there's a lot more problems than that, Rob. And I'm not against people taking a social stance on something occasionally, but when you do it too much, it turns people off. The NFL and NBA lost some fans when they did too much of it too. So this is not a sexist thing against the women. If they have to, if one of their issues this has to do with sexism, misogyny, that's a unique thing. But guess what? People don't want to hear about that all the time when they go to watch a sport. So they need to tone that down. Sue Bird said recently, "Oh, I wish I could have just dribbled. I felt like I had to do this." No, you didn't. You didn't have to do this. You do that on your off time, away from the basketball court, away from the league if you want to. But when it involves basketball in the league, you need to just tone it down. I'm not saying if it's something major comes up and it's important, but we don't care who you're voting for. You don't take a stance on that. People don't want to know about that. They want to watch you play and want to watch you play at a high level and don't care about it. So my recommendation is to just be less political and be less social warriors. And then if it's a little bit, I think people will say, okay, that's it. All right, I can handle that a little bit. Now I'm not turned off. But as soon as it gets to the point where it's more than a little bit, they get turned off.
Oh, yeah.
That's just what happens. It's already happened in other leagues.
Yeah,
so
it's okay to stand up for yourself. But I mean, the league's mostly black lesbian players. So you don't need to really promote that. We already kind of know that. So it's just, but if somebody's like, I mean, they use it against, it's weird. They use that against a straight player. So you're bringing in what's happened to you against a player, a straight player, which is not good.
Right. So now on to the actual nature of the league, Rob, which is what they're proud of, physicality. Okay. So that comes down, again, we talked about earlier with skills. As your skill level becomes up, you'll feel less obligated to use physicality in order to be a good player. You'll start using your skills.
Right.
And if the league, which is led by the commissioner and the refs, decide to call the game tighter, it will take the physicality out of the league immediately. And if they do that, it'll be a more enjoyable product for 99% of the people that are watching, because only like one or two comments I've seen that says, "Oh, I don't mind the physicality." Everybody else says, "I can't stand the physicality and all the rough play," especially, I guess people don't even like to see women do it. The women hitting other women, that's not a good look for people. It's bad when men do it. It seems even worse when women do it.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't like watching women boxing or Ultimate Fighting Championships for that reason.
Well, I mean, with the physicality, it's okay to be, I mean, like any sport, it's supposed to be a non-contact sport. So it's okay if you're boxing out. But when you're trying to injure a person on purpose, then that's not good. And then that trickles down into the league. So they have to do it. They're like, hey, wait a minute. We want to be, it's okay to be kind of like physical, but not abusive. There's a difference. You're crossing the line there, and they don't do anything about it. So that's from the top.
There's too much of the flagrant 1, flagrant 2 type of action where women just start hitting each other. And it's been going on in the playoffs right now. It's one time, forget about Kate and Clark, because it's all about Kate and Clark. In one game, Asia Wilson, who you would think is protected, she got hit in the face 3 times once she was bleeding. In one game, Rob. Okay, that's too much. Right? People don't want to see that. It's not basketball. It's not in the rules. Stop it. So take the physicality out of it and tone it down, and you'll have a better product. That's really all there is to it. That's what people want to see. They're calling it prison ball for a reason.
And
and
then
they don't
and
do
then
that.
and then to coincide with that, Mark, get a better product of referees.
Well,
Just go through them all and screen them and see which ones did well this year and didn't do this
they
well.
say they've done that, Rob. They said they started from 5,000 people, and these are the best ones.
They're-
So number one, Rob, first the commissioner and the head ref has to say we have to call the game tighter. So that's the first thing you have to referee. The second thing is you got to go over to the NCAA tournament and take the best refs from there and say, hey, will you be a ref in the off season, even if it's only for 20 games.
Pay them
And get the best refs from, even if it's women's or men's NCAA Division I, because you're not going to get the NBA refs because they have an 82-game season and they're the best refs. But you can they only have 35 games in the NCAA. Okay, so they have more of an off season. Get the best refs from those and replace your lowest rated refs in your league with those refs. Even if you say do a half a season in the WNBA because they don't want to do a whole season because they do a whole season in college. That's what I would do to increase the value of the refs, Rob.
Yeah, get rid of these goobers that you have in there already because they're the worst. They're the worst. So, I mean, like you said, get the WNCA referees. They can do it in the off season. My dad used to do that. He did high school and college, and then during the off season this summer, he did maybe like a summer league or he did like CYO, whatever they had. Just pay them. Because they still want to. Because referees are actually they are athletes and they want to stay in shape. As you notice, you don't see the referees that big. You see some really good referees in shape. They have to be now. So this also helps you with it helps you as far as, hey, maybe I can do this game and back and forth as far as a referee. Keeps you busy. So.
And quit with the favoritism because it's really ticking off fans. Caitlin Clark got the short end of the stick for like 3/4 of the game that she played in both playoff games. They went up against A'ja Wilson. A'ja Wilson got all the calls. They have favoritism towards certain players in the league, Rob, and it's too much, and they got to stop it. Just be fair about it, too. Anyways, the refs, we could go on forever, but everyone says they suck, and they need to improve it, and that starts with the commissioner and the head referee. In terms of dealing with the media can help you make a lot of money because they can promote your sport. And so that's why you have media asking questions afterwards, and that's why you're obligated to answer the questions, because that way they know that's important, because then the media will get you more tickets sold. So you have to look at Caitlin Clark answering questions and then go look at Clea Copper answering questions and say, here's the right way to do it. Here's the wrong way to do it. Every single one of these women need a media training course, a week long or whatever, to learn how to answer questions and start being nicer to the media. You got to quit saying things. Well, if you don't like it, don't watch. You can't. You got to quit saying that on TikTok or when they talk to the media when they answer questions. You got to stop saying that. I have so many examples of women have said this. If you're not investing, don't watch. Stop it. You don't have enough fans as it is. Why are you pushing them away? I understand.
I know. Don't watch. Okay, that's what those people say. Okay, right.
Okay. The next thing you have to do, Rob, is fire the commissioner. Okay. She's incompetent. She doesn't know what she's doing. She lets the players run the league. She works for the owners and she forgets about that. She decided Caitlin Clark doesn't deserve any protection, doesn't deserve any attention, doesn't deserve any promotion whatsoever. And they're blowing it by doing just the opposite. She doesn't care. She doesn't care how mistreated Caitlin Clark is, how all the refs are against her. She doesn't care how the players are treating her. All she cares is about the other players. She cares about 143 other players, but not Caitlin Clark, when it should be a little bit just the opposite. She should be most concerned about the golden goose that came in and there to save the league. And they don't have to thank her, but they got to quit being against her. And that starts with the commissioner.
Yeah, I've never seen, like I said before in other videos, I've never seen where you have someone who's going to help you make money and promote your league and make you do better, but you treat them like crap. I've never seen that before. Never.
All right. Okay. The last thing, Rob, is the women's personalities. And that involves, of course, the media that we talked about, media things. But let me give you a list of complaints that I've seen from these women's personalities. They're self-entitled. They're babies. They had victimhood mentality. They're obsessed with race and sexuality and misogynies. They demonize the fans. They're too busy on their Twitter for their own little platforms. There's no accountability for their actions oftentimes. They're an activist league. The league doesn't seem to care about their fans, and they're too sensitive. Rob, women don't seem to want to get any criticism with the new fans. When they realize is if they want to be a professional league with a lot of eyeballs on them, they're going to get more criticism. Men in sports have been getting tons of criticism since day one. It's never going to end. That's why they're called fans. They're called fanatics. Some of it's inappropriate. And yes, no racism or sexism belongs in the thing. But you quit being so sensitive about the criticism. Some of the criticism is valid. You just don't like the fact that you're getting criticized.
Well, Mark, the one word that sums up all those you just said is just petty. Women are very petty, and that just sums up the whole thing. Because they worry about the word, like I said, they're worried about what the other person's doing or what the attention they're getting. That's the main thing. This person is getting more attention than me. So, they just they never bond. They say they're sisterhood and they're all together, but I'm telling you, the women, that's just how they are. It's Shava. Oh, look at her. Oh, who does she think she is? Oh, look at the way she came in, walked in with that dress. She thinks she's. It's like, oh my gosh, just what is this? We don't do that. We don't care. Men don't care. But that's how they are. I mean, I'm not even. I
know
talk to most men. That's what they say.
But the criticism coming from the fans and the media, they just have to accept that's part of sports. And they've been isolated for 27 years because they've had so few fans. You're going to get more criticism. They just have to understand that and just deal with it. Turn off social media, work on your game. You'll get less criticism. And they need to be less sensitive about it. Men have been dealing with it for years. They need to deal with it. And it really, whatever it is, I don't know why the women are more sensitive than the men. And they can't be because they're going to get just as much criticism because that's how fans are. They don't care that you're women. They're going to criticize you just like they criticize the male athletes. So that's just the way. Obviously, that's what's happened because you've seen it this year. And, at some point, the NBA has to say to the league, hey, you got to turn a profit or we're going to stop supporting you because they're entitled, Rob, because they're a welfare league. And they go, well, we don't really have to make money. The NBA will always be there to support us. So we don't have to change how we play and we don't have to change our personalities and we don't have to change how we run the league because we got away with it all these years. Mm-hmm. And so that's what's going on. They need to turn a profit themselves and they need to attract new fans and not turn them off. They want the new eyeballs, but they want the new eyeballs to always be positive about it. And that's not going to happen.
Right.
And, they only want their fans, Rob. That's too small a market. The fans that are going to support Black lesbians, it's too small a market. You're not going to get those type of fans. Yeah. You're going to get fans from all areas of life, Rob. You're not just going to get people who are supportive of Black lesbians because that's not enough fans to make the league a profit. That's what they have to understand. And that's what the problem is. And it's just the way if they want to make more money, they're going to have to accept more criticism. So they got to stop acting like children, Rob. That's all I have to say. And quit playing the race card all the time. People don't want to hear about it all the time. Yes, there's racism against the blacks, but there's also racism against the whites right in your own league that you're not even aware of because you're the majority.
Right.
So, that's just the way it is. Anyways, those are the major things that I think they need to do to make the league better. And that's a lot. But I think
we've left some out, because otherwise, like I said, we'll be here all day.
Right. Those are the major ones. Those are the major ones. And hopefully with some of these new athletes that are coming in, like Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, and Juju Watkins, who are clearly better athletes. They're just not – the league's been dominated just by big women. Big women. And that's why they don't jump as high as some of the volleyball players you see in, like, women's college volleyball. They can jump – why? It's because they're not big women. They're just tall women. And that's because they emphasize physicality. So the more physical big women had played well in this league. Well, if you take out the physicality, you'll attract some of these women who play volleyball who can jump high and are better athletes. That's just the way I see it. Right now, they go into volleyball because they don't want to deal with this prison ball. So
Yeah.
they need to change things. And hopefully, as these better athletes come into the league, they'll start to dominate, and not the physical big women will start to dominate, and you'll have a better product, hopefully. But it's going to take a long time, and they have to change their attitude, Rob. That's just the way it is.
Right. Starts from the head down. The
Right.
fish rots from the head. That's what they say. The fish rots from the head down.
So let us know what you think. I'd like to hear other suggestions from people. I know there's some minor ones. I know we hit all the major ones on how to make this league better and more profitable. But that's a start. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do, so you get notified of our next videos. We're really close to 5,000 subscribers, and we need your help. We've only been around since April. We cover basketball and football. And we'll have a live show every Monday from 6 to 8 Eastern time, except for major holidays. And we'll talk about the football games this weekend. And if you like this video, hit the like button. And if you want to donate to this channel, there's super chats down below and super thanks. And we'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.